The first major move of the dollar breakdown is nearing its completion. However, the question of the day is this likely to continue, and will that actually affect or maybe even help out some cryptocurrencies? As a general idea is that if you have a weaker dollar, then assets that trade against that dollar should theoretically be stronger or easier to be made strong or just go up versus it because, just by the nature of the dollar value going down, well, you'd expect hard assets to be going up in their dollar terms. Anyways, that is going to be the focus for today. We'll also go over a little bit of Bitcoin price action as well. Very little is new there, obviously, and perhaps even a bit of a setup at the end of this video pertaining to Bitcoin. So other than that, we can just jump right in this one, starting off with the dollar index. So in this case, we were looking at a big breakdown to come down somewhere around the 101 level based off of it was July's closure right here when the top was essentially confirmed as far as the way that we look at things. And in this case, we have seen that price action has come down just about to that 101 level. The current low of the month is 101.31. And we can see that the Bitcoin's Dixie, the dollar index, is just about to touch that green 55 exponential moving average, which I would be expecting a little bit of a short-term bounce attempt at. However, to answer the question of this video, I do believe, it's not that I necessarily believe, but there are some signals in the background that do suggest that this breakdown is likely to continue on the greater scale of things. So looking at the monthly right here, we can see, again, coming down to this major region. We also see that the monthly RSI is breaking below the 50 level right here, the lowest levels of RSI that we've seen basically since the last bull market in 2021, way back on over here, of course, as you can see. And if we go to the 2-month time frame, which will be closing at the end of this month in just about 9.5 days, we can see some regular bearish divergence, a phantom drive, I should add, coming off of this last rejective high. So I do believe that this one can come I would say significantly lower, perhaps down around about 97.5 to 98 bucks, in the subsequent period. So that would be, between about late October, maybe November. So this is more of a long-term thing, obviously. On top of that, as we come into the end of this month, Dixie is experiencing a few things over here from our momentum chart. We can see that the stochastic oscillator is very likely, very, very likely, barring some sort of massive girthy green dildo party before the end of this month in the next 9.5 days, to see momentum turn down and reject the bullish control zone here, assuming that Dixie remains below 104.68, which it is nearly more than $3 below as of right now. Seen some crazy things, but I think that one's likely to continue down, to be fair. And we can see that this is within the context of extreme low BBWP representing volatility. So I do believe that this move is likely to continue, actually, like I said, on the greater scheme of things, probably finding a move down somewhere around 97.5 to 98 bucks before the next sort of major bounce attempt. Assuming that there will be a bounce attempt, probably around 101, which we're kind of at right now, maybe to open up September. So does that help out risk on assets? Well, I guess that would be the sort of more rose-colored view right now for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can essentially just kind of hold sideways here to finish out August and hopefully for the first portion of September as well. And at that point, I would be expecting this one to come down on further. And at that point, that would kind of set things up in the background for Bitcoin and risk on assets to continue on with their mega rallies. I mean, traditional markets have just been doing that altogether, but Bitcoin maybe to follow through as well and join the overall party. Just kind of remind myself or perhaps remind the people out there, in 2020, when the last major macro bull market really did begin, we can see that the valuation of Dixie was actually around that 97.5 to 98 bucks number. Obviously, it did fall all the way down to just below 90 bucks on Dixie at the culmination of the 2021 bull market in about, what was it, like November of 2021, back on over here. So does this bode well for Bitcoin? Historically, probably yes. But at the end of the day, it's best to be looking at the asset at hand. So let's actually go over to Bitcoin right here. First things first, we'll look at some daily statistics for Wednesday. Wednesday is actually the most likely day to close negatively out of any weekday since 2024 began, losing an average of almost 2% on those negative closing Wednesdays. For the times that it has closed positively, however, which is under 40% of the time, by the way, it actually has the highest, or one of the highest positive returns of any, of any day, that is, which is just over 3.5%. So let's put that into actual dollar terms here. It actually does look like, after yesterday's kind of small fake out there, if you even want to call, I mean, you have to be fucking bored as hell to call that a fake out, but yeah, I guess it is there. 3.5% to the upside would put Bitcoin actually pretty much around yesterday's high, which is significant, as we'll get into a little bit later in this video. And of course, to the downside, shaving 2% off of price action would put Bitcoin, back down around 57,850, something like that. But it does look to me like Bitcoin actually probably will have a short-term upside day today. At least that's what I'd kind of be looking for. Looking at the HPDR, there's a few things of significant interest here. So actually, before we get into that, let me just get rid of this right here. Again, just most simplistic piece of analysis. We did see the 5-day close last night for CME. Look, I would have no problem switching to be like bearish on Bitcoin. And when I say bearish, I mean like an actual breakdown, not just like this continuation of this range play basically between mid 50s to low 70s. But like an actual breakdown, if Bitcoin even just trades and especially closes below this last 5-day low, which is about $56,000 on CME, there's about 56,000, 300 basically. But as you can see, as long as Bitcoin's above there, I still do think that the Boo laws have a chance here. However, the way to essentially confirm this as the next major, in this case, macro low, and, price action to the upside likely to follow is, well, the same as before. I mean, I still want to see above that 8th of August high. However, with the way that the daily did close yesterday, I would feel confident in saying that even if Bitcoin did trade above yesterday's high, which was a rejection right at the daily median right here for the HPDR bands, you're probably going to see an actual upside breakout. And at that point, you should expect Bitcoin to have a quick run somewhere between 65 to 67,000 bucks. Relatively speaking, I mean, quick at this point is like anything that moves more than a few $1,000 in a day, because Bitcoin has been extreme range bound, which is good for the Boo laws here. Obviously, sideways is going to continue to favor the Boo laws, just more time being spent, more time being eaten up between, realistically now and probably the midpoint of September, as we kind of inch our way closer to there. So, got 3-4 weeks to kind of just basically do nothing, which again would be favorable to the Bitcoin Boo laws. If you're bearish, you're basically looking for things to likely break down from here. But like I said, until I see Bitcoin below, the Thursday, the 15th of August low, I would still kind of express skepticism with like a real legitimate breakdown. But at that point, if you do see below last 5-day low, basically, you're very likely looking at low 50s, very likely a retest quite quickly of around 52, probably a bounce temp there, and then maybe lower than that over time. But for right now, if Bitcoin were to trade back above yesterday's high, which is 61,650 on CME, that would probably be good enough. Again, that is where yesterday's rejection was, right at the daily median. If you want to go by the book, then it would be the 8th of August high right here, which is 62,500 or so. And at that point, again, likely a quick rally into the deeper 60s. Anyways, going back to the 5-day time frame right here, we can see Bitcoin is right at the median as of right now. Obviously, this one doesn't close for another 6.5 days because it's on CME, so it won't trade over the weekend. But if Bitcoin can just maintain above there on the next 5-day closure, again, another good indication that Bitcoin Boo laws will likely pull through here. But I do want to reiterate, just even in my opinion, even just below $56,000, especially on a daily closing basis, really have to get ready for like 52,000 bucks, probably a bounce temp there, and then I would probably be looking for that bounce temp to actually fail and continue lower. But of course, we want to see it in real time. Anyways, I think we got that. Okay, so pretty much the same shit on Bitcoin, basically, that we have been looking at for quite some time now. Of course, I did want to also answer the question at the beginning of this video, because we do have another 15-minute setup over here. I did post this one in the Krown Quant Discord. So if you do have, or if you are in that service, check it out. It's the it's a new 15-minute time frame strategy. It's quite simple here, and you can see that over the past, 9 years since 2015, has had some pretty decent results throughout that time, with an over 63.5% strike rate and a 1.237 profit factor there. So that is important. And for a 15-minute time frame, it's typically kind of difficult to make those work for a long time period. But in this case, we actually do have decent results here. I suspect that this could be further optimized to kind of smoothen out this equity curve. But at the end of the day, can't let the enemy of perfect be good enough, or however the fuck that saying goes. Nobody knows. Doesn't really matter. But you get my point. My point is that it's in its base template, it is viable enough. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video yet again. Another boring day of analysis, but it is what it is. We're in the dog days of summer right now, very similar to last summer and many summers before that as well. I mean, June, July, especially August, is just mind-numbingly boring, and I feel like we're kind of just wasting time here. But like I said, I'll continue to be here every day because it's the fucking streak, man. It's the fucking streak, and for whatever reason, my OCD brain just cannot, I just can't let the streak die. Can't let the streak die. It is what it is. I don't make the rules. Anyways, we'll end on this note. And yes, and while I would like to wish you the best, as always, here is a nice, lovely, positive message from your local crackhead.
If you are a fake bitch, stay the fuck off my fucking page. All fake bitches.
All fake bitches must go. And goodbye.